Okay, so we're going to talk about the science behind chiropractic. It's very scientific, so stay with me. There's some really big words here. So we're going to blurt these words out and see if you can follow along. So there's 5 components to what we call a vertebral subluxation. It's not just a bone out of place and it's pressing on a nerve. A vertebral subluxation starts with what we call kinesio pathology. Kinesio pathology is abnormal motion of the spine. You can have a spine that's moving too much or a spine that's not moving enough. So when you're looking at the actual joint mechanics of the vertebrae, there's so many different joints in there, and just one of those joints not moving properly starts a process. And the next process, or the next event in the process, is what we call Neuro Pathophysiology. That's where when the joints aren't moving properly, then the nerve system gets affected. And when the nerve system gets affected, it's going to cause an irritation to the nerve. Irritation to the nerve is going to cause the next component, which is called Myo Pathophysiology. And then Myo Pathophysiology is a big word that means that the muscles get affected. Muscles can get tight, they can get hypertonic. I wouldn't say spasmed, because spasm would mean that they were in complete contraction, but what happens is when you feel certain muscles on somebody's shoulders, one side could feel really tight like a rock. And now they're not twisted out of alignment necessarily, but their shoulder could feel tighter on one side than the other. That's called Myo Pathophysiology. Now what happens as the muscles get tight around the spinal joints, the nerve is affected, the joint's not moving right, it leads to swelling and tissue irritation. That's called histopathology, another big word. So histopathology is where you'll find the soft tissue is now being affected. Some soft tissue is going to be the little capsular ligament around the joint. Others are going to be the discs between the vertebrae. And everybody's heard of degenerated discs or herniated discs. That's part of histopathology, is where you have the soft tissue swelling. That is then going to lead to a degenerative process over time, and that's called pathophysiology. Now, pathophysiology is really the degenerative process where you start getting bone spurs. When you look at a normal vertebrae this way, you have normal bone structure, normal disc, and then you turn into something like this where you have degenerated bones and herniated discs. This is all part of the subluxation complex. These 5 components: neuropathophysiology, kinesio pathology, histopathology, Myo Pathophysiology, and then pathophysiology. So those 5 components make up the scientific background of a vertebral subluxation.